As violence against minorities continues in Bangladesh, the Muhammad Yunus administration is under pressure from around the world to ensure the safety of the religiously vulnerable. ISKCON priest Sri Chinmoy Das remains in jail and without a lawyer representing him in court. The Indian government has meanwhile stated that they are in touch with the Yunus administration and they've urged Bangladesh to ensure the safety of Hindu minorities. Months after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina as Prime Minister, Bangladesh has now decided to erase the image of her father and the founder of Bangladesh, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, from its currency notes. What they have decided to include instead are religious structures, Bengali traditions, and even graffiti, which was drawn during the July protests, that will be included. Joining me today to talk more on this entire situation on Global Mirror is an exclusive conversation with the foreign advisor to the Yunus government, Mr. Tauhid Hussain, is joining us on Global Mirror. Mr. Tauhid Hussain, good evening, namaskar. Thank you very much for speaking with us on Mirror now. There are lots and lots of concerns about what has been happening as far as the minorities are concerned, particularly the Hindu minorities are concerned in Bangladesh. What is your response, and why is it that the Yunus administration is unable to control these kind of violent attacks against the Hindu minorities?
The thing is that, Shreya, if I put it, the way you have put it is, first of all, not the right context. Ever since the government change took place under a situation in which the young boys and girls of Dhaka, of Bangladesh as a whole, brought down the government, and 4 days later, at their request, Professor Yunus had taken charge. Initially, there was some violence. Let me be very clear about that. For 5 days, we really didn't have any government. For 4 days, we didn't have any government. And then for another at least 15 days, we did not have the police on the streets. It was the boys and girls of the schools and colleges who were actually doing the police's job, which is not their job, actually. Initially, there was some pent-up emotions against the political party and its officials who were in power before that, and who for 15 years had actually done a lot of torture and unbecoming things on the opposition. And so there was a pent-up anger which found some expression in the form of violence. One thing is very clear, that the violence had absolutely no religious overtone. We do not condone it, but then fact is that it was against Awami League loyalists, supporters, etc., by the people who have been wrongs for so long. But in 15 to 20 days' time, the situation was completely taken under control, and there has been no violence since then. The recent 1 week or 15 days back, the flare-up that took place again was because of the arrest of a gentleman who, in fact, is being said that he's the leader of the ISKCON, but ISKCON Bangladesh has ousted him because of some of his misdeeds. He was arrested on specific charges, and his supporters had stopped the police vehicle to take him to jail. And they started the violence, in which one lawyer, incidentally not a Hindu, he's a Muslim, was killed. That's the situation. Nothing else has happened in after the peace was restored. Unfortunately, this has been again taken out of proportion. And you are saying about the not only in India but all around the world, but it is mostly the organizations like Vishwa Hindu Parishad, like Bajrang Dal, like other pro-Hindu organizations, who have just taken up the type of propaganda that is going on in India, and they have gone in the same line. It's just like that. We have invited anyone who has who thinks that things are not going correct here. We have invited them to come and just see, come and just visit what is prevailing in Bangladesh. If you have to believe the Indian media, it would appear as if a civil war is going on here. That nothing like that is happening.
It's interesting, Mr. Hussain, how you said that I have incorrectly put the question to you and how you're saying this is an Indian media exaggeration and propaganda. But the visuals that are coming out of Bangladesh, and we're showing them on our screens as well, are they lying? The kind of violent incidents that Bangladesh has seen in the past against Hindu minorities are reflection of what is going on in the country.
You see, let me just give one example, how it is media exaggeration. The house of Mashrafi bin Murtaza was put on fire in the initial days. Mashrafi bin Murtaza, you might know the name, he was captain of the Bangladesh cricket team. And he was an MP of Awami League. And the incident was publicized in Indian media as the house of Mr. Dash, the other player of Bangladesh, being burned. That is the type of media hype that has been going on in India all along. Whatever happens, you see, these days videos are very easy to. You can put a video which is 3 months old and say that this has happened yesterday. This is happening.
Can you therefore vouch, Mr. Hussain, that all of the videos that are going on social media are fake?
I am not saying that everything is absolutely hunky-dory. No. We still have some problems, but that is not communal. That has nothing to do with the Hindi community. I have visited a large number of puja mandaps. The biggest festival is the Durga Puja in India, in Bangladesh, for the Hindi community. And I have not only gone there, I have spoken to them, and all the advisors have gone on to their own places, or their own districts. And you might have seen that even in the initial days, when there was some violence on political line, but then because it will be, even if it is political line, it will be portrayed as communal. Say 20 houses are burned. Initially, there were some burning of houses. If 2 of them belong to the Hindu community, that becomes the news, not the other 18. This has happened. The puja, 32,000 mandaps, and there was no incident at all. There are criminals in every country, in India, in Bangladesh. 1 or 2 incidents might have happened. But that is being portrayed as the general trend, which it is not. The social media, well, the less said, the better.
What about the voices, Mr. Hussain, that are coming out of the United States of America, even UK lawmakers voicing their concerns about how Hindu minorities are being attacked in your country?
Fine. What we have done is that we have, in the very first week or second week, we have invited a UN team. They have come and inquired about the entire episode from July to August. And their report, I haven't seen the report yet, but let us see that report and see that what exactly has happened. Mr. Trump had actually given this because in the first place he's a friend of Mr. Modi, so whatever comes in India, he would normally have a say to that. And secondly, that was before the election. He needed the Hindu votes because he had lost the Muslim votes because of the Middle East situation. So it was just an election ploy. About the all-party committee and statement from the UK. Yesterday, I actually called the British High Commissioner and showed her the contents there. There is not one mention of the 1,500 people who were killed by the regime before August 5. Not one mention. Which means that it's absolutely a group of people who have, a group of the MPs who are hell-bent on, just denigrating Bangladesh. I have given her our statement, and I said that you are free and you can have your team go anywhere in Bangladesh and interview anyone and give your opinion, please.
The former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, has made her first public address in an event at New York, and she's blamed Dr. Yunus for the genocide of Hindus. Your response to that, Mr. Hussain?
In the first place, it is very unfortunate that she is now, she is sheltered in India. Then she should refrain from making any statement contrary to this government. That is not helpful for the relation between the two countries. And she is, she has been in her actions in the last so many years. She has shown her anti-Yunus bias. She filed fake cases against him. She made this 80-plus gentleman go up the stairs 5 stories to face the court, keeping the lift out of order so that he has to walk up. This is what the vindictiveness she has shown about Professor Yunus. So she says anything about Professor Yunus has absolutely no credibility, one. Second thing is that it is a complete travesty of truth what she has been saying. Did she accept the responsibility for what she has done? She has killed 1,500 boys and girls, young people on the streets. And it is very unfortunate that there is no remorse, there is no regret for what she has done. Now she's blaming someone else for the crimes she has committed.
You know, she was given a shelter in India because she found a friend in India. India-Bangladesh ties have only been healthy, and the Indian government wants to ensure that it has healthy ties with the Yunus administration as well. But more importantly, Mr. Hussain, you know, the kind of attacks that the Hindu minority is seeing right now weren't seen during the Sheikh Hasina regime.
Let me tell you that once this government has taken charge and taken over the administration properly, it took about 15, 20 days. As I said, that there was no police on the streets because the police, Sheikh Hasina had put against this face-to-face with the young generation. And the police was scared coming out because there was so much of pent-up emotion against them because they had shot and killed these people. But once we have taken over the administration properly and the police is on the streets, no violence is happening right in this moment. No violence is happening. There was the violence initiated by the supporters of the Brahmachari when he was arrested, and that's all. It was not initiated by the police or anybody else. It was initiated by them, trying to block the police. He has been arrested on a particular charge and the court didn't grant him bail. What could be done?
You know, Shri Chinmoy Das, Mr. Hussain, remains in jail also because he could not get any lawyer to represent him. His lawyers were attacked and brutally attacked at that. And then the other lawyers were threatened by the majority of the lawyers that if you take up his case, you'll be attacked too.
This is an order to me that the lawyers were attacked.
What about the talks between the Indian government and the Yunus administration, Mr. Hussain? How do you think they will move forward? Has there been any sort of communication regarding this matter?
There has been no conversation on this issue. There are statements from Indian side. The Bangladesh position is very clear that the security and well-being of the minorities, be it Hindu or any other community, is the responsibility of the government of Bangladesh and not anybody else. We do not make comments on the situation of another country, of minorities, because it is their responsibility to protect their minorities. Similarly, we do not accept the statements or concerns of any other country speaking about our minorities. They are citizens of Bangladesh with equal rights. And it is our responsibility to protect them. We are doing that.
But it's the minorities of your country, Mr. Hussain, who are asking the Indian government for help because they feel threatened in your country. That's why they're asking the Modi government for help.
There will always be a section. There will always be a section who will be asking for help from exterior sources. But the minorities in general and their leadership, in fact, we have had a meeting today with the chief advisor of all religious communities this afternoon. And the there will be some elements always just trying to go against this government, and there are Awami League loyalists everywhere who are trying to create this situation and denigrate this government.
All right, we'll leave it there. Mr. Tauhid Hussain, thank you very much for sparing us with the time and talking with us on Mirror Now. Hopefully, peace will return to Bangladesh and the minorities will feel safe in your country. Thank you very much, Mr. Tauhid Hussain, for speaking with us on Mirror Now. All right, with that, viewers, joining me on the broadcast is former High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Ms. Veena Sikri. Veena Sikri, thank you very much. Good evening. Namaskar for speaking with us on Mirror Now. My first question to you, ma'am, before I get into what Mr. Tauhid Hussain said, let me first try and understand from you what you expect from the Foreign Secretary level talks between India and Bangladesh that are scheduled next week on the 9th of December.
Well, I think it's good that the Foreign Secretary level talks are taking place. There is a distinct effort by the Indian government to maintain the sense of normalcy. They have said from the very beginning that we want to continue the good relations between India and Bangladesh, the projects for the benefit of both peoples of India and Bangladesh. And certainly the Foreign Secretary level consultations give the opportunity to discuss all issues. I cannot say in what way that the government will plan to bring up these issues. But certainly, I think that there is a very important point that the government of Bangladesh has to realize. First of all, I think even to call it an interim government is a little difficult because it really is an interim regime. It's an interim administration. They've been sworn in under a constitution where there is no provision for such an interim regime or administration. But such as it is, the government of India is prepared to talk to them. What the interim administration has to realize is that for the people of India, it is very important what is happening to the people of Bangladesh, particularly the Hindus and the Christians and the Buddhists and all other minorities. The people of West Bengal, they're extremely agitated. We know how agitated they are because they have relatives, they have friends all across the border. And so they want to know what is happening and what is disturbing to the people of India and to all those who have ever studied or dealt with Bangladesh, that there is a complete denial from the interim administration of Bangladesh.
What's also important, Ambassador Sikri, is what you must have heard Mr. Hussain right now, and he said that, we don't invite any other government commenting on our matter, but the fact of the matter is that it is the minorities of Bangladesh, the Hindu minorities, that are asking for the Indian government to help them.
But that is the minorities in Bangladesh don't know where to turn. They, of course, are airing their own grievances, their own problems, and they have determined this time that they will stay on in Bangladesh. They are citizens of Bangladesh. Their concerns are with the interim administration of Bangladesh. They have made an 8-point demand, which has very simple things like a law for the protection of minorities, a ministry for the protection of minorities, that all the people who have hurt them, have attacked them, abducted their children and raped their daughters, they should be brought to justice. They should be punished. All this it's a very normal, but it is the responsibility of the government of the day to discuss this and to have a dialogue, to have a platform where this can be discussed. You can't pretend that none of it is happening. You can't pretend that the violence is not happening because it is being recorded in the Bangladeshi media. In fact, if you see on the 12th of September, there is this very prominent Bangladeshi newspaper called the Pratham Alo. It is the leading vernacular Bengali language daily of Bangladesh. Huge following. They wrote on the 12th of September that we had done a detailed investigation into what happened from the 5th of October onwards, the minute Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina left the country, and we studied between 5th and 20th August, 15-day period. And they said we have documented, we have visited homes. This is absolutely a researched thing. And they've come up that at least 1,068 attacks were held on the minority community. They've given an interview with the Archbishop of the Roman Catholic Church of Dhaka. And he is saying that all this is happening because there is no punishment to anybody who's doing it. They're getting away with it all the time. And they've described the kind of attacks, how the women were raped and abducted, how the homes were destroyed, business establishments were destroyed, land was taken away. All this is described in the report by the Pratham Alok, page by page, incident by incident.
Ambassador Sikri, these very newspapers and dailies that you mention are now carrying out articles that are supposedly busting fake news that is being carried by all of us here in the Indian media.
No, I don't think they're isolated incidents. Otherwise, you wouldn't have thousands of the Hindus come out on the streets. They are doing it. Who is telling them to do it? There are thousands and thousands, unprecedented. And I think, in my view, that perhaps the interim administration is severely worried by these thousands and thousands of people who have come out of the streets in Dhaka twice, as early as the 9th of August, and then again on the 1st of November, then in Chittagong in October, and then in Rangpur on, I think, in November. Later in November, 3rd Friday of November or something. Now, who asked them to come? There is no way that these organizations, whether it's the Sanatani Jagran Jot, they have no capacity to organize this, to tell people or to, encourage them to come. Nothing like that. They're coming spontaneously because they want to protect their interests, because they don't know what else to do. They're determined to stay on. They are citizens of Bangladesh. They're wanting their rights as citizens of Bangladesh, and they're coming on the streets to ask for it. Then to pretend by closing your eyes or burying your head in the sand that this is not happening. This is unreal. It's surreal, because what you're saying about the Bangladeshi media, because the interim administration in Bangladesh has combined these completely, shall I say, a complete denial mode of anything that is happening to the minorities in Bangladesh, with a complete clampdown on the media. And in fact, even there, I would say, the Newspaper Owners Association of Bangladesh, NOAB, they have released and published a very strong statement condemning the attacks on the media, condemning mob targeting. It's a complete mobocracy, because I'm saying that in addition to the attacks on the minorities, there have been a mob attacks forcing judges to resign, forcing Supreme Court judges to resign, a gharao kind of thing. That these Islami Chhatra Shibir students, they go and gharao the judge, force him to resign, and then somebody is appointed in their place. Does the interim administration have the authority to do this? No, they don't. They're not even a constitutionally valid organization. And even when this was there in the previous Bangladesh constitution, before it was deleted, that there will be a caretaker government, the only authority the caretaker government had was to look after law and order and organize free and fair and inclusive elections within 90 days. The 90-day limit has long passed. And there are talks of reform before elections, but there is no authority for this government to take reforms. And then when you're clamping down on the media, it is far worse than what you ever were accusing former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of doing.
There's also, of course, the charge of genocide of Hindus that has been slammed by Sheikh Hasina against Dr. Yunus. You've served at the time of Sheikh Hasina, Ambassador Sikri. What difference do you see?
No, you see, I think that the attacks, the way they are, the kind of attacks that are there on the Hindu and other religious minorities, the Buddhists in Khagrachari, in at the end of September, I think 19 September it was. Again, hundreds of them attacked, their business establishment destroyed, home destroyed. The army was supporting them. And the army comes and tells them, and even the other Hindu minority, the same army was there in Chittagong as well, telling them, here's the money, go, leave the country. They are trying to push out the money. This is the Pakistani playbook. Pakistan now has a very big role in Bangladesh. All the restrictions on Pakistani ships coming, cargo coming, physical inspection of cargo, all those have been lifted. All the visa restrictions on Pakistanis coming and that it'll be vetted by the Home Ministry, all has been restricted, have been lifted. And it's a completely Pakistani playbook they are following. Just as the Pakistanis had reduced their minorities to 2% or thereabouts, they want to push everybody out and then have a completely Islamic government. They've said their calls for an Islamic Sharia law. Their calls even made by Aman Azmi, who was the son of the Amir of Jamaat-e Islami during the Liberation War. It's a replay of the Liberation War, because in the Liberation War you had Pakistan, West Pakistan government acting in East Pakistan, and the Jamaat-e Islami on the same side as the West Pakistan government. And you had all these people who were going around committing violence. Same pattern, the same picture is prevalent today. So to say that the target, what is the target? Why are they doing it? It's because they want to push the people out. And the fact that the Hindus and other minorities say, no, we want to stay. I think this is perhaps even alarmed the interim administration.
And therefore, Ambassador Sikri, how do you see the India-Bangladesh ties moving forward? If you're saying that the Pakistani playbook is being displayed here, how do you see the ties moving forward?
I think that we have to continue what our government is doing, talk to the Bangladeshis, explain to them. I'm sure this factor of the concern of everybody in India, and I don't know whether you're aware that there is this group, Citizens for Fraternity, led by Yaqub Qureshi, and it has Dr. Najib Jung and Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah and others there. They issued a letter yesterday addressed directly to Professor Mohammad Yunus, saying how embarrassed the Indian Muslims are at what is happening in Bangladesh, and saying that as Indian Muslims, we are dismayed and disappointed at such un-Islamic behavior against the minorities of Bangladesh. This un-Islamic behavior is patently against the tenets of Islam and the path shown by the Prophet, peace be upon him. We strongly condemn this mistreatment of the minorities and urge the Bangladesh authorities to take immediate and corrective actions. This is a statement by leading Muslim intellectuals of India. We know that Muslim religious leaders have also come out, the Shahi Imam, the Grand Mufti of Kerala, they've also come out with similar statements, because they don't want that the terrible situation prevailing in Bangladesh should reflect in any way on the peace and harmony in India. So I think that this factor, that all the communities, all the states, it's not just West Bengal, it's Assam, it's Tripura, all the states, it's Rajasthan, it's Delhi, it's all the states. It's not just one or few states. So I think that the Bangladesh interim administration has to smell the coffee and realize that we're not being pro-Bangladesh or anti-Bangladesh. We want peace in the subcontinent. We are very happy. Our Prime Minister, in his first message, by the 8th of August, by the day that Mohammad Yunus was sworn in as the chief advisor. And 5th of August is when Sheikh Hasina left. In 4 days, the situation had deteriorated so seriously that in the message of felicitation from our Prime Minister, he mentioned this, that we hope that the Hindu minority, will be, and other minorities will be looked after. And of course, on 16th of August, Prime Minister, Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus telephoned our Prime Minister, and they had a conversation on this subject. And they assured our Prime Minister that they are going to prioritize the issues and the incidents that were spoken about by the Prime Minister. So this assurance was given by Professor Mohammad. But after that, he has not spoken about it at all. He just talked about exaggeration and Indian media. Why should the Indian media exaggerate? The Indian media is so free and fair. They can fact check any event. You are talking about Bangladesh fact checking. Indian media can also fact check. They all have, contacts and friends and relatives in Bangladesh who can be spoken to, who can be sought out. And why should they tell you something that's not the truth? Yeah. Why would they do that? So I think this reality check on the impact of the attacks on Hindu minorities in Bangladesh has to be done by the Bangladesh interim administration. And they can only do one thing. They can just prepare for free, fair and inclusive elections in the near future.
That's right. That's right. We can only hope that that prevails. And of course, the next week, Foreign Secretary level talks hopefully will have something conclusive come out of it, and something for the Hindu minorities of Bangladesh. But thank you very much, Ambassador Veena Sikri, for joining us on Global Mirror and sharing your perspective. With that, viewers, it's time to wrap Global Mirror up. Thank you very much for joining us at the moment. Goodbye, good night. Up next is Sneha Koshi with Beyond the Headline.